Hi folks, I'm Nate with Two Guys to Ride, and welcome to our car tech how-to video on the 2023 Mercedes-Benz AMG C43. Today, I'll be covering the driver's information and infotainment screens. I'll do a general overview, show you how to access information, and do a deep dive. Let's get started.
Today, we're working with our friends at Sears Imported Autos, selling beautiful Mercedes-Benz in Minnetonka, Minnesota.
All right, well, we're going to start on this beautiful 12.3-inch digital screen, and it's very customizable. Now, this is of course, the AMG version, and so it has a few tips and tricks of its own. Now, over on the left, of course, you have a speedometer. In the middle, you kind of have a driver's information area, and then over on the far right, you have a tach, and then you have a power and charge indicator down below that. And then, of course, your gear selector and your drive mode, which is the blue C square that you see. Along with the gear selector, also in the middle, in addition to be on the left, and then a clock and an outdoor time temperature and an auto start stop defeat, which is very nice. It's right underneath the engine start stop button, but there is more than one location to turn that on or off. Okay, so to control everything that's in this 12.3-inch screen, you're going to use the three buttons that are at the top of the left side of the steering wheel. You got a home button, you got an OK button, it's a trackpad, so you can slide your finger around on it, and then you have a back button. So I'm going to start by pressing the home button. Now, if I use the trackpad here, I can slide. These are the different screens that you can get to. Okay, and then if I slide up, this is your HUD. So your heads-up display, that's a small display, actually in this case a fairly large display, that shows up on your windshield. It looks like it's hanging out over the end of your hood, but it puts all your basic driving information right at your fingertips, right in your eyesight and line of view. And if you've never used a HUD before, I think you'll discover that what will end up happening is you will quit using the center infotainment screen and the dashboard so much, and you will concentrate up there because it is just awesome. All right, but these are the controls for the HUD, and we'll get back to that. All right, so currently we are in what's called the classic view. Okay, so in the classic view here, in the center of the screen, you see all the dots that are on the right. Well, you can use the OK button as a swipe pad, and you can go through all these. So, for instance, you have got temperature. You've got setup here. So this is just a display of how the car is currently set up. So you can see it at a glance. This gives you engine data. I do love it back here that they show you horsepower and pound-feet of torque. Right here, you've got your first trip meter. Just shows you how many miles you've gone, and then your overall miles, and then, of course, at the top, your digital speedometer. And then over here, you have it from the start. Here is from the last time you reset your trip meter. You have an eco display that changes that changes depending on how you're driving. And this is an AMG after all, so it's probably not going to display real well. Here you get consumption, and that's active, of course, as the car is driving. It shows your miles per gallon, your instant miles per gallon. Okay, attention assist, that's right there. That's the thing that's going to tell you whether you're weaving on the road, your hands aren't on the steering wheel enough, and then it's going to suggest that you pull over and take a break. All right, and the next screen, of course, is your media, and it shows you whatever's currently been selected, and then you can scroll through different channels. Okay, now I go down one more and I get navigation view right between my gauges. And then down at the bottom, of course, it's giving you my turn by turn. I have a route plotted so you could just see what that looks like. Okay, now if I go down one more, then I'm back to the beginning. So now let's go to home, and I'm gonna slide all the way over to Super Sport. Okay, now in Super Sport, you've got these little screens at the bottom here that we can go through. So basically, a lot of the same things that we saw earlier, but you've got a G-force meter instead. Okay, that's the additional thing in a quite a different look. Okay, so, but you still got control over your basic things that you want to see. All right, then if I go over here to just to sport, click on it. And now in sport, we don't get the option to have all those other screens show up, okay? But you do have a really, really cool RPM gauge. Shows you your pound-feet of torque on the left and your horsepower on the right, as well as your transmission temperature, your oil temperature, and your engine temperature over on the left. All right, so it's just a really cool screen, but you don't get, you know, like it doesn't show you your miles per gallon. At this point in this screen, most people are not concerned about that. All right, let's press home. We already saw classic, so let's go over to understated. Understated removes a bunch of stuff just to simplify it. Okay, it also does it on your infotainment screen, which is kind of cool. You'll notice that, for instance, on my RPM gauge right now, it's showing just a dash above 1, but if I accelerate, they light up as you go. So the same thing with the miles per hour; those things will light up as you get close to them. All right, but again, because this is a sort of a calm screen, you don't have the option to see like your fuel economy, anything like that. All right, let's go back here and let's go to navigation. I love this one. So this one puts your navigation right up in your full 12.3-inch driver's information screen. So you have all your basic driving information that you need. You just don't have the gauges for it. And instead, you have a beautiful navigation map. I'm gonna hit there. Okay, we'll swipe over one more. This is the assistance screen, and this is just a nice graphic page to be on. You know, if you want to see things like, you know, your lane centering, your dynamic radar cruise control, you know, the following distance between the car in front of you, and so forth. You know, that's kind of cool how it keeps track of all those things. And so that's just a nice separate screen, and that's all you get there. There's no settings for it or anything, but that's where you can see all those assistance systems working. I'm gonna press home and go over one more, and this one is simply for service. Okay, it tells you your tire pressure, tells you your tire temperature, which I like, and gives you any messages for alerts. Your Assist Plus tells you when to service it, and then of course it does give you your transmission oil and engine temp, and then your engine oil level as well, that's a cool one. I've not seen that one before. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here and we're going to quickly talk about going up here to the HUD. So this one just changes the whole display in the HUD. So that's a race one. Then you get Super Sport. You have speed limit reading. And then you've got minimal, which basically just gives you a speedometer. You have an eco display if you want to see how economical you're driving. This is where you have the basic settings though. So if I go here, this is where I can lower the HUD on the windshield. So if I don't like it, like right now it's sitting up quite a bit, I can lower it, or I can raise it, and then it goes higher. I can also swipe left or right to change the brightness of the screen. All right, so, and then I just gonna press OK when I'm done. And then the last thing you have here is you have a head-up display off button. Now the minute that you go back up, that's all it shows you, so you have to click it back on to get anything. So basically this is your, like, what do I want to see? And then this is, you know, the settings of how high or low is it and how bright or dim the screen is. But I'm going to tell you it's awesome. The navigation shows up, and not just turn by turn. It shows you the map and then tells you your turn. It's really, really nice HUD display. So there are a couple of other things I want to show you on the driver's screen, and it has to do with the steering wheel, actually. So because this is an AMG C43, you've got a couple of extra really cool controls. So down here at the bottom of the steering wheel, on both sides, you've got a little round gauge, and I love it that it's lit up, and actually these can change functions. So you see there's a little button on the side here. So if I click AMG Dynamics, I can change it to setting the suspension. I can set it to changing the drive mode. I can set it to turn auto start stop off. And then I'm back here. Now, where you see these things and how to affect them is, like for instance, right now it says AMG Dynamics. So if I just press the button, it actually goes onto the infotainment screen. And this is where you can change the AMG Dynamics from basic, advanced to pro. Okay? If I click this, now I'm in suspension. If I push the button, now I'm changing the suspension from sport, comfort to sport plus. And if I push it again, I can, if I click the button, and change to manual mode or automatic mode. Push the button again, auto start stop is off. I can turn that on again by clicking the button or turn it off. And then I'm back to AMG Dynamics. So this button down here, traction control is currently showing. So if I push the button below it, I turn traction control off. Push it again, traction control turns on. If I press the actual button itself, now I'm to suspension. So this is another place that you can adjust suspension. So there's some duplicates. Drive mode, again, I can change from manual to auto start stop defeat. So really the biggest difference between these two buttons is that this one will give you the AMG Dynamics, this one will give you the traction control. Otherwise, they duplicate functions. Now, over on the right side of the steering wheel, this is your drive mode. And so if I press it, it shows up on the infotainment screen, and then I can rotate this top bezel. So I can go from comfort to winter or slippery to individual mode to sport plus. And then back again. Okay, that being said, we are going to move over to the infotainment screen. All right, so the infotainment screen is another 12.3-inch screen, and it's very nice. You know, it's running the latest system from MBUX, and so basically the way it's set up is the screen that you're seeing with navigation on it, that's where everything's going to change. This climate area is going to stay here all the time. It never goes away. Which is nice because there are no physical controls for the climate, and this is a dual zone climate controlled car. So I can't help but commenting about this beautiful open pore walnut wood right here on the dash as part of the trim. It's really beautiful, but we're not here to focus on that. So this is how you adjust that temperature. This is how you adjust the fan speed. Okay. And then, of course, you've got your auto, defrost, and so forth right here. If you do want to actually see a climate menu where you can, for instance, these are at different temperatures. In order to sync them, unfortunately, you have to go in here and press sync, and then they both become the same. Okay, and you do get a few other things in here. You've got where your airflow goes. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna go back to home here. So that's how the screen is divided. The way the navigation system is absolutely outstanding. It's the built-in version, but this has the augmented reality navigation, which means every time you come to a turn, it's actually going to turn on the front camera. It's going to show you. It's going to put arrows in there, like 3D arrows showing you which way to turn. I mean, it's really just really cool. When you see that, and in the video, you'll see that there's a little button above the 3D button that says AR. If for some reason you don't like that, which I can't imagine why, but if you don't, if you click that button, it'll turn off that front camera. But that is just so really neat. And then at the bottom of the screen, it actually shows you which lane to be in. And it's very clear. Sometimes in navigation, when you're driving, you know, the line, you can't tell which lane you're supposed to be in. This one actually puts all the choices down here as a separate picture, like icons, and then it highlights the one that you should be in. It does make it easier to tell which lane to be in, and I like that they do that. But absolutely awesome. Of course, you got live traffic updates. It's just, yeah, it's a very nice navigation system. All right. I would show you how to program a route, but right now, because we haven't activated a Mercedes Me account, it doesn't want to use voice command to do navigation. So voice command works great in here. It's absolutely awesome. You can do almost anything with it. You can turn on your heated seats. You can change the temperature. You can select what media you want to play. You can tell where to go in navigation. However, because I'm not subscribed to the Mercedes Me app and connected to this car, it won't let me use voice control. So that's one thing you need to be aware of. When you, of course, buy the car, you want to sign up for that right away so that you have all the controls that voice control will give you. Okay. But is very nice. You can manually go into the navigation and you can type in anything that you want and it will work fine. Okay, but you need the subscription if you want to use voice command along with it. Okay, if you go into the settings right here in navigation, this is where you can make some one-time choices. And this is, you know, you just need to sit down for 15-20 minutes and go through this, and then you're done. But this is where you get to decide, okay, on your route, do you want to reroute based on traffic, on request, or don't even ask me, go the route that you chose in the first place? Okay, under view. Okay, do you want a satellite view, free-flowing traffic? You got all these choices. Okay, on augmented reality video, on, street names on, you can even turn on house numbers, which is really cool. All right, so this is where I'm not going to go through it all, but this is where you go through and decide, okay, map color. Do you want it automatic, so it'll get a brighter in the daylight and darker at night, or just automatic, or day always, or night always? So that's where that is. Now, I'm going to go back to route for a minute. This is where you say avoid highways. So anytime you program a route, if you turn that on, it's not going to take you on a highway. Avoid toll roads, carpool lanes, okay, areas to avoid. Okay, you can even enter an address, okay, and say avoid that area. So that's an interesting one. That's a new one. All right, so that's where all those settings are. Okay, and that's, you know, but it's a fantastic navigation system. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to press that home button again. You notice now I get a couple of cards down here. So this is your media. This would be your phone. And of course, here is the introduction to the zero layer, which is what we're looking at right now. Okay, let's hit the home button again. And now up pop the different apps. Under settings, let's go through these right here. So under driving here, if I turn on automatic gas station search, anytime my fuel level is, the reserve is low, it's going to automatically look for a gas station for me, which is kind of cool, because if you're not paying attention, that could save you. Comfort, easy entry and exit. Of course, that will allow, you can set the seat and the steering wheel position separately, but basically if you set those, when you turn the car off and open the door, your seat will slide back all the way. The steering wheel will go up and all the way into the dashboard, allowing you to get out easier. When you get back in and start the car, both the steering wheel and the seat will readjust to where they were, where you'd set them. So that is a nice feature to have on. Roof roller sunblind, okay? So you can have that turned off or on. Occupant protection. Seat to belt adjustment, so in case of an accident, there's an accident or an impending accident, it will pre-tension the seat belts for you. Okay, open and close items. So automatic door locks can be turned on or off. Acoustic lock can be turned on or off. Automatic mirror folding, when you park the car and turn it off, that can be turned on or off. So these all work the same way, but they're just right here in under open close. Okay, under dynamic select, this is where you're going to set your individual drive mode. Remember when I went through the drive modes, there was one called individual. This is where you're going to set that. The car can either automatically start in comfort, or you can say you want it to request it, the drive mode at the start. But right here, I can change the drive, the transmission, the dynamics, and suspension. So I go to drive, and then these are my choices I can pick. I can go to transmission, manual or drive. I can go to dynamics, pick that, and then I can go to suspension and select which suspension that I want. Okay, and then as long as I do that, when I switch the drive mode over, then to individual, then this is what I'll get. All right, so that's all under vehicle. Let's go back to assistance for a minute. All right, so active distance assist Distronic. Okay, so this will read road signs when your cruise is set, and it will automatically adapt your cruise control to the speed limit that's posted. Okay, and then navigation, you can also have that turned on. So that way, when you're on navigation and it knows a certain road is a certain speed limit, it will adapt your car to that. Brake and accelerate. Okay, you can say that's based on dynamic select, which is your drive modes, or I always want it comfortable, or I always want it dynamic. Okay. Collision avoidance. Active brake assist can be turned on or off here. Active lane keeping assist and active blind spot assist. I would leave all those on, but that's where they are. And then if you want to manipulate anything within those, you press the gear wheel. And now you can say, okay, I want an early warning, a medium warning, or a late warning. I would definitely leave that on early, but that's your choice. But each of these just allows you to make a setting. Okay? And this one just gives you information. Now, traffic sign assist. Okay, under here you can say, I want to set a speed limit warning. So if I go over the posted speed limit, the car warns me. Do I want it visual or visual and audible? Now, once you turn that on, you can say, I don't really want it to warn me until I am 5 miles over the posted speed limit. Then it can warn me. Or you can leave it right on 0, so it'll warn you 1 mile an hour over. Okay? I'm going to turn that feature off. This is an AMG. All right, camera. You can set GPS-based activation, and that's not going to turn on for me right now. But basically, if you get to a spot where you say, man, like every time I pull into the spot, I want the front camera on, you can program that by GPS. And by clicking on the screen, and then it will say, well, do you want to save this as a camera option? And you say yes, and then every time you come to that location, your front camera automatically goes on. You can also open your camera cover to watch or service it. Parking. Okay, parking space in camera image in reverse or not. Okay, so that's your choice there. It depends on how you see things. You can set the warning tones. And what I like about this is all of our hearing is slightly different. We hear different pitches as we get older. We lose some pitches. So first thing you can do is you can set the volume level of how loud that warning tone is. And then you... One of those may work much better for you than another one. So I love it that they put that in. All right. Now, if we go over to system quick, you can look at your voice assistant. You've got the Hey Mercedes. You have online voice control here. You can look at displays. You can change the display brightness. Driver display can be adjusted separately from the central display. And I like it. They give you, and this is a little different than that, than the day, night, or auto setting. So it's a slightly different. Home screen, you can have 0 layer, so it looks like this with a few cards on top, or you can have the old classic menu bar if you want. If I change, there's the old view. I really, really like the new 0 layer much better. Okay. So, graphical goodies. All right. So, this is an area where I think the engineers had a really good day on Friday. So they put in some really fun things. If you have this turned on, you'll notice things like around Christmas time or Halloween, you're going to have little reindeer, Santa Claus, Christmas trees, ghosts, depending on what holiday it is, all of a sudden appear in your driver's information and infotainment screens. It's a lot of fun. So it's just fun to leave on. And then you can go here and you can look at the basic info if you need nitty-gritty details about that. All right, I'm going to press the back button here. All right, under comfort, this does not have massaging seats, but Mercedes puts in seat kinetics, and they are designed to help keep you awake and alert while you're driving. So if I go here, okay, the seat kinetics are working on my driver's seat, and they're subtle, but they're enough to move your body around a little bit, okay? And you also have those for the passenger. You have heating settings right here. Additional steering wheel heating can be turned on or off right there. And then automatic seat positioning. I like just setting my own seat and my own steering wheel, but you can just put in your height and then say whether that's in inches or centimeters and start positioning, and it will do its best to automatically position the steering wheel and the seat for you. Now, this car has tons of ambient light options, okay? The first thing you can get is you can have a monochrome, which means you're going to get one color everywhere, or multicolor, which means you're going to have all sorts of different colors intertwining, and the lights are everywhere. If they were flashing, I'd say it's a disco, but it's not. All right, you can change the color right here. Okay, what do we have? 63 different colors. And if I go here to brightness, I can link the zones and change them all, so every ambient light in the car changes, or I can unlink them and I can say, well, I want just this zone lower, okay? And they tell you this is the direct lights, these are the indirect lights, and these are the accents, okay? Now you can also go to effects, warning when exiting. This is a cool feature. If you're opening your door and this is set on and there's a car coming, the lights on this side, the ambient lights, are going to change color. I believe it's to red. Then you can have multicolor animation. So the lights change and they pulse a little bit. So it's really cool. So that is there. Tons of stuff to change, and that is where you can play with it. I'll go back here. All right, so let's go take a look at the radio app. Right here is just your way to scroll through, okay? However, if you want to make a favorite, what you can do is just click the star right here. And now you've got a new favorite. It actually shows it going up into favorites, which I love. If you want to see a little bigger picture, just click on the actual icon, and it just gives you a bigger icon is what it does. Click it again, and it shrinks back up. You got your, of course, pause, your live button, and your back button. Now, besides that, is there any other way to tune? Yes. If you go here, you can see a channel list. You can also mark something as a favorite or unmark it as a favorite if you want. You can look by categories, featured favorites, and then tune mix list. Now, what I like is you notice this is all under Sirius XM. However, you can look at all these things for FM and AM, all from the same screen, which I absolutely love. All right, if you go up here, you can type in a number. For instance, if I go 95, here it's going to automatically show me everything that's got a 95 in it, if that's all I can remember about the station. All right, that's under Sirius XM. If I say, well, under FM, well, here are the things it found that had 95 in it. Okay, so, and of course, AM, it found a few things. This one is 1080, but the equivalent is 95.1 FM, so it found that. So, but that's really nice. I love it that they put it in the same screen, and you're not having to search each one individually. So the other way to search is, we did Sirius, I showed you Sirius XM, FM, and AM, but if I go to all sources and type in the same number, 95, and hit OK, it's going to show me all sources, FM, AM, Sirius XM, all of them, and they're all right here. So I get them in one nice big list, right? Which is just really cool. I guess I like it that they're making it easier for consumers to search for something in their radio by putting everything there in one area, all the sources. Okay, now the second thing that I want to show out here is how do you adjust sound settings. So if I go right here, okay, if I click on settings and I go to entertainment, I can set up a personal sound profile. I have to hit start and configure it. I'm not going to do that because that's a brand new car. But that is where you're going to go in to make your personal sound profile. That will, when you program a driver's profile, this is where it'll show up. All right. You can have 3D sound or pure sound. You can adjust the equalizer here simply by clicking on these buttons. You can do the balance and fade right here. This is a click and drag. Sound focus. Do you want it all seats, just the front, just the back, or all? Loudness normalization. Off, low, high, or medium. That's just as the car gets louder on the inside from ambient noise, the volume increases. It basically balances out the volume so that no matter where you set it, it sounds the same at 3 miles an hour as it does at 70. So, and that is how sensitive it is right there. Okay, so that's how you can adjust all of that. Let's go back here. We'll go back again. And I am going to go, there we go. This button right here gives you like a shortcut to the basics of the sound, but not like how to create your personal sound profile. But you can get at your equalizer, balance and fader, sound focus, loudness, and then certain settings on Sirius XM. Okay, so that's maybe a shortcut for you rather than going through the steps that I showed you under here. Okay, so that's it. I'm just going to show you FM real quick, but it's the same thing, right? If I click HD, I can turn HD radio off or on. What's HD radio? Well, it's high definition. You get a better connection to your tower. The connection lasts longer, and the sound quality is better as opposed to using non-HD. All right. And then I'll show you that AM looks the same as well. So they all work the same. All the same buttons do the same functions. But that's how you find a station. That's how you save a favorite. And that's how you adjust the sound. So I'm going to go back here. Under media, okay, if you had a phone connected, this is where you'd see a Bluetooth device if you connected via Bluetooth and didn't switch it to Apple CarPlay. Well, we'll find out. So, this is a good point as any to connect a phone. So, this has got wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect my Android phone. So, I'm going to go here to connect device. And I'm going to go to the settings on my Android. I'm going to click on the Bluetooth settings, go down to the bottom. This number is the same as what's on my phone. And it asks me, is this passkey the same? And it is. Now, you may just go, well, that's not important, but if someone else has got a Bluetooth phone with them, it may actually be trying to pair to them. So, it's connecting. Tap here to start Android Auto. Yes, do that. Unless you want to run through regular Bluetooth. Accept and start. And then it says, do I want to allow the car to access my contents? Yes. I'll click allow. All right. Continue. Allow access to messages. Yes. That was from my phone. And here I go. So now I can shut my phone off and I can put it in the nice wireless charger in the center console. So this is Android Auto. You have this is sort of the default screen, but if I click here, I can get a split view. So I can get navigation up here, and I can get weather, and I can get then media right there. If I click again here, these are all my apps that will work. And the way Android Auto works is, currently all mine fit in one screen because it's so large. But basically you would scroll up and down to see all the apps that work with the car. But you notice I have Google Maps if I prefer that. I got YouTube Music, I got Waze, basically any navigation or media app, audio app, any audio app should work on the system. If you want to get back to Mercedes-Benz system, you can click that. But before I do that, I want to just show you, these are shortcuts down here. They're the most commonly or frequently used things that you have on your phone. Okay? And as is usual, if your phone is close enough to you, you can use the Hey Google Assistant to control your phone from the screen. So I am going to press this and go back here. And now I'm going to leave that connected because you can have more than one phone connected. What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect my my iPhone. All right, so you know, here of course you get your signal, your time, driving focus, your battery, whether it's charging or not, and then again, just like Android Auto, you have your most frequently used apps right here. Okay, and you got the little dice at the bottom. The biggest difference is in Apple CarPlay, you swipe left to right to see apps, whereas in Android Auto, you go up or down. So this is interesting. This must be an update because typically the map is shown over here and then voice is up here and media is there. And I noticed that Google did the same thing, the Android Auto, so that's interesting. It must have been in one of the recent updates. But basically, you can put your phone away at this point, right? And it will allow you to use it however, you know, from the screen. If I go back to home for a minute and I go to phone, and I say, I want the Galaxy one. Settings. If I click on Android Auto, it is going to start the Android Auto and take me off of Apple CarPlay. Okay? So, basically what that means is you can connect two phones, but you can't have the phones on Android Auto or Apple CarPlay at the same time. So right now my phone is just hooked to Bluetooth. Okay, AMG performance. Couple of different pictures you can see. So since I have rear steering in this car, I'll click this so you can see it, but it changes the numbers for both the front and the rear. Okay, that is just way cool. Love that. Okay, I gotta, so you gotta put it back in park here. Okay, then if I go here, I also get the addition of a G meter, I have an accelerator indicator, and I have a brake indicator. I love those graphics. That's just way cool. Under engine, you get, of course, pound-foot of torque over here. You get a horsepower, PSI that's developed by the turbo, which of course isn't ticking in, hardly because we're just at a standstill. You get your transmission temp, your oil temp. Okay, under here, that's interesting. Timer. I love the watch they put in there. You can start that timer, and it actually works. Okay, you can look at consumption if you really want to, but again, it's an AMG. But it's there if you want to see. Okay, that is just cool. Now, let's go back here. And then the last one, of course, is Android Auto. Now, let's take a look at the backup camera because these are phenomenal. All right, so right here, you got a front zone. I'm sitting in front of a bunch of grass and bushes, so as the wind blows, it's showing a little invasion into my area here, which I do like because if there's a kid or a toddler, it shows you where it's at. This is my backup view. Of course, you have swivel dynamic guidelines. This is for the front tires, the thicker lines for the rear tires. Okay, and let's see. I can then go here, and I get a little wider view, and it changes the graphics, but still gives you the same safety protect. Warns you where things are. I can get. I'm gonna put it back in park here a minute, and we'll just go to the camera button. All right, so front view. Here's my front view I was telling you about before. I can change this button as to see how wide I want of a view I want. I can here go by my side and see from the edge, either side. All right. This one turns off your parking sensors in case you're towing something and you don't want the sensors beeping at you all the time. This one here is what you tap when you want to mark something in the GPS for your camera to come on automatically. All right, that is it for the infotainment screen and the driver's information screen on the 2023 Mercedes-Benz AMG C43. What a car. What an absolute car. Hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.